She's not gonna come out of my couch. I'm not gonna make her do that. She'll get hurt. I don't want to hurt her. Just want her to sit on my clothes and my notebook. That's what she's doing. Meg's gonna sit on her lap. Yes. All right. She's gonna realize how dense and heavy Meg Turney is. And then she's gonna realize that she didn't have any problem changing sizes.
This ain't my scene anyway.
All right. We're gonna stop talking about Meg Turney, because she's probably realized that I might know her. Understandably so, she's a very, very nice person. She's currently doing nothing. Completely just doing nothing. Completely just sitting wherever she wants to sit, or standing, or walking, or completely going out a door. All right. Here we go. We're walking on the things. I'm stupid as shit, dude. Oh my god, I'm stupid. Alright, I know I'm Irish, but I'm not that Irish, so. Okay, realization of fact, guys. Magnets are cool, guys. Magnets are so cool, guys. And then also magnets suck. That's right, Steven Septic. Magnetic confetti. It blends in with all the rest of the confetti. Alright. We're gonna realize that, there are some people out there that are very stupid and like to take things that are dumb for them. Or maybe I just I may have lied to my mom. So my court-appointed mom, Jessica Negri. Ow! That hurt a little bit. I'm gonna stop talking now. Understandably so. Let's get back on the subject, guys. Magnets. Let's see here. Magnets can pull a lot of stuff, but if you're not strong enough to pull it, then it usually doesn't go anywhere. Realize that there are people out there that help. There are things out there that help you do a lot of different things. And there are people out there that help me as well. And this is me talking a worse off version of myself. And I try to calm myself down all the time. When I realize certain things that I've said, and I realize certain things that I've done, I guess. I've also realized that there are people out there that do very, very many great things. Great as in amazing, and amazing and great are both synonyms. That's the reason why. So, as we go back and start talking about magnets again, there are people out there that electrify certain metals, okay? As you're electrified, the polarity of different metals starts to push or pull in a certain direction. If the electricity is left there for a longer time, then that's the reason why magnets work. Magnets work because they pull other metals toward it, that because of the polarity of it is going the opposite direction, because of the way that they either move the metal or the way that the charge of the thing is actually happening. In some ways, there are electric charges that actually work on magnets that are not magnets yet. There are also a lot of times where people don't understand that if there's a way to sometimes fail at something, if there's a way to sometimes fail at something, then some people don't even try. If there's a way to be able to fail at making magnets, then just don't try. Don't try to make magnets. Because sometimes the Earth learns things, because people don't understand that the Earth is almost alive. They have to realize that everything they've ever done will come back to haunt them. Yes, it will. Eventually, serial killers will realize that their reflex is stabbing motions. So as they realize that their reflexes are actually stabbing motions, they start to make a stabbing motion sometimes, and sometimes that stabbing motion is in the way of their something, or sometimes their stabbing motion is in the way of something else, and they're pointing or keep on pointing, or just acting or keep on acting, and they're just doing lots of stuff, making sure that people themselves don't get that far and don't ever do anything that bad, because they didn't want to be that. And sometimes they told people, and most of the time things happen to where people didn't become those things, and that's the reason why. Because there's good people out there that do very, very good things and help people, give people order where there is chaos and stupidity. But it's stupid to call yourself a wellspring of wisdom. It's very stupid. I wonder if people don't realize that if they call themselves a wellspring of wisdom, they'll eventually turn into what is called a fountain. That's what happens. It's a wellspring. That's what a wellspring is. It's a fountain. A wellspring is a fountain. Maybe she was insinuating that she wanted a fountain, but also realizing that she was calling it a wellspring of wisdom, she wasn't going to get it. Right? It's the reason why she was able to protect herself in a given situation. And that's what anyone's thought pattern or anything like that is ever going to do. The realization of fact is that people are stupid. They'll believe what they want to hear sometimes because they want to hear it. They want to hear it. They want to hear it all. So, here we go. Magnets. Magnets, through certain polarities, can change ionic bonds. Those changing ionic bonds can make very, very many different things happen. As the ionic bonds happen, the metal itself moves because it wants to be closer to the whatever protons and electrons that have moved. And as it's finished, they send an electric charge through it to be able to push the polarity backwards of it. The polarity backwards, realizing that there are certain ions that switch back after the metal moves. So, as the metal moves, that you're putting up the magnet against, that's the reason why it happens like that. So magnets, guys, that's how they work. It's a very, very delicate procedure, and sometimes machines do it because people don't have that good of, what's the word? Control. They don't have control because they either drink, or they don't drink, or they don't eat food a lot, or they think that mashed potatoes are the best for them, or they think that mashed potatoes are going to be the best, or they think that gizzards are amazing and they should eat them all the time, or some sort of thing. Stupid and dumb. Just dumb and stupid. Don't eat just one thing because your body is used to a lot. Because remember, you're not your father's son, but eventually you'll realize that you evolved just like him. It's the reason why some people don't realize that the imprint they leave on someone whenever they have a child, or have a child, or have children, or have a children, or a child, and then realize that they shouldn't have had a children, they should have had a child. So, realizing that fact, magnets, guys. Bunch of magnets. Lots and lots of magnets. People really, really like magnets. Because also too, it actually works well with, and it also is paired with a lot of things what they would call tractor beams, right? Because there are certain metals inside of things. Whatever radiation a certain metal gives off is the thing that's used to it being in the universe, because the universe did that by itself. That radiation was a signature, okay? It was the universe's signature, all right? The signature that made every single thing happen. It's the reason because there are metals that are naturally radioactive. It's the reason why those nuts in Brazil they're completely radioactive sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes they're not good for you. Brazil nuts. Sometimes they're exactly not good for you. Every once in a while is a good thing, but if you eat them too much, then you realize that you get irradiated and you'll start to glow. That's what happened to me one time. Started to realize that my eyes were glowing. Wondered why everyone kept calling me dead, you know? So, I'm by myself, completely. But also, too, it's a healthy glow sometimes. Because people don't realize that sometimes their parents and other people went around irradiated materials. They don't understand that sometimes they moved it within silence. U.S. government, lots of other governments, they moved irradiated materials. And within those things, they tried to move other objects and say, this goes with this. And it doesn't. It never did. The computer did not go with an irradiated bomb. Because that's what they were trying to deliver to someone who they didn't like. That's the reason why those people died and that ship crashed into something and those guys completely and utterly were obliterated. No, not Lewis and Clark. So, realization's a fact. Okay, magnets, guys. All of these things have to do with magnets because of the certain polarities of different metals. The radiation itself sometimes makes a pull, okay? Realizing that if you put metal in your hands and then try to put a magnet on it, it'll look like your Magneto. If you do it enough, your hands will get really heavy and then you'll die. Because if you put your hand up, and the Earth itself thinks that, oh, that's metal, and that's metal. That's the reason why it's magnets. Magnets, guys. Don't be Magneto. He's probably gonna die of poisoning. Some sort of poisoning. I don't know if what's his name? The dude from X-Men died. But hey, you know what? Kudos to him for realizing that titanium can poison you. Eventually, it always does. Understandably so, it really doesn't affect you if you eat food and stop acting like a douchebag to your friends. Alright. So, understanding a lot of different stuff. People don't understand that when magnets themselves are there, when magnets are around, they can move by themselves. A lot of things get magnetized sometimes when you don't understand things. Metals move, different woods actually move because of the minerals itself that is inside of them. Because yes, wood can be metallically bonded with stuff. The realization of fact is that yes, it can happen like that. It really, really can. But the more you start to realize that wood itself is not materialized like that, you'll have to understand that if the two things were melded together, wood would be extremely sharp and hard to find. It will be strong as the strongest metal in the entire universe sometimes. And I'm not taking the Bobcat. So, certain realization. Magnets, guys. Has a lot to do with stuff. Really, really does. I don't always want to be a douchebag, so I have to realize that I have to stop talking so amazingly, or talking like I'm completely a different person, because I do get inspired by some people, and they really, really do help me sometimes whenever I'm down. Understandably so, I've never actually watched entire streams of their videos, or like I don't binge watch them like I usually watch series. And I'm kind of taking a break from that right now because I realize there's a lot of different fiction up there with fact, and I'm going to try to see if I can get it out and understand that I have a sense of humor. And that's what melds it all together, guys. A sense of humor, guys. Realizing that your kids are awesome and sometimes they're stupid. Alright, I'm getting a motorcycle. So, not really getting a motorcycle. They're dangerous. I don't want them. I like leather jackets though, but not motorcycle jackets. Not ones that are like tight leather that I can't move my arms around with. because I have shoulders that are like that are almost ambidextrous, and I'm trying to work those out. Magnets, guys. So, all right, realizing certain specific connotations of facts, guys. There are a lot of times that people realize that there are certain things in the world, sometimes in the world at all, just like on the world sometimes. Realizing that there are certain things that can be magnetized that are living, because people can actually, what's the word, process metal sometimes. That guy that ate an entire car bike, he died, but before that, he was magnetized.
Suspect westbound.
He died, and then he was a dumbass because he died, because he realized that he shouldn't have ate that entire bike by himself. He should have had a friend. That is not really what I'm trying to say.
Jesus!
Alright, understanding that there are people out there that do give a shit about people. But understandably so, there are a lot of people out there that just don't give a shit. They're not going to give a shit, and they can't give a shit because of the life choices they've made for themselves. Not because of being homosexual or being anything or any sort of thing, but realizing that there are people out there that gave a shit about things and certain things and expected other people to be good for them. And in some cases they weren't. And that's the reason why sometimes people decide to eat bikes, or decide to do stupid shit, or decide to say that they're going to do something amazing and realize that they're going to eventually hurt themselves. Because there are people out there that sometimes don't plan. And that's the reason why I don't get into that stuff, because I know that I don't have a plan for it eventually. Eventually I'll have a plan for it, but that's the reason why. So, okay. Magnets, guys. So, as magnets have polarity, they sometimes can adhere to objects very, very powerfully, given the certain ion charge that there is. Magnets always wear out, because the ions themselves always go back. The metal never comes back, and that's the reason why the magnets always still kind of work. Hence the reason for refrigerator magnets. The reason why refrigerator magnets are on a sheet of, I'd say rubber, but also magnetized rubber, because it's mixed with a certain alloy. And that alloy is charged as it's put into something. So, that's the reason why magnets work, guys, because magnets. And the realization of fact that magnets are cool as shit and amazing. People have to understand that there are things out there. Things, and plenty of things that people don't understand and won't understand. But hey, understand this, guys. Magnets, guys. The reason why they're able to charge something is not because of something having power or saying that there are ions in the air. Because if there are ions in the air, then people are stupid. Because there was a garden in that certain spot, and that's the reason why those ions go back to that, because they have behavior. They eventually have a lot of behavior, and don't realize that in that certain spot where that garden was, where someone had that garden, there's going to be a plant. And if someone puts it there, another plant will get mad. That other plant, if it gets angry or mad, they'll start to realize things, start to understand things. And plants eventually start to breathe oxygen. As humans evolve and change and start to breathe carbon dioxide. Because it's all oxygen, guys. It's all oxygen, guys. It's all oxygen. Okay? Carbon dioxide is carbonated dated water, basically, that floats through the air. That's basically all carbon dioxide actually is. It's the reason why when you breathe it, you can't actually breathe, because you're not used to the entire water in the air sometimes. And that's the reason why sometimes carbon dioxide was, and probably will be again, the thing that stuff breathes. So realize dinosaurs are coming back, guys. Magnets! Woo! So, alright. And if they're not stupid, then you'll be able to ride them probably if they have a petting zoo. And not grown men on a small young brontosaurus, because then when it's grown, it'll try to get on your back and crush you. Because brontosauruses exist, guys. They made the lie so long it actually happened. Woo, guys! Good job, guys! Good job! Or, it's an earth dragon. It's a dragon that probably just wanted to grow legs and watch everything. Because dragons existed alongside dinosaurs, guys. Magnets! Woo! Alright, guys. We're gonna start seeing some new stuff, and then we're gonna keep on being ourselves, man. We keep on being ourselves. We're gonna understand this, and I'm calming myself down to realize certain things, and magnets, guys. Magnets. Alright, I'm completely by myself. Meg Turney's completely out the door. She doesn't work for Rooster Teeth anymore. That's a stating of fact. That's just stating a fact. Understandably so, if she's waving something in front of my face, she's going to realize that eventually that thing is going to come after her.
Wow!
Not Meg Turney, guys. Meg Turney would never wave anything in front of my face. She's really, really cool. She's a really cool lady. I don't know her, but she's really cool. Alright. So, understanding that there are people out there that do give a shit about your feelings and understand exactly who you are and don't laugh at everything you say. Magnets, guys. Magnets have a lot to do with ionic charge. And the reason why some animals were able to manipulate the elements. Because if metal was inside of water, they would be able to get water a lot easier. And they started to realize that their skeletons were getting a lot more dense. Because metal particles are sometimes in everything. And that's the reason why sometimes magnets, as in the Earth, which has a magnetic polarity, oh my gosh, with magnets and lots of different things. The Earth has a magnetic polarity because of all those things that cycle through. The ion cycle belts or whatever. They're all magnetic polarities. That's all it is. It's the reason why it works in circles, because it thinks that it's an infinite circularity, because if it thinks out of order, then it stops. So realize that. If you try to confuse the world, you're gonna die. Alright, cool. So, magnets, guys. Alright, magnets. As the different polarities happen and different things happen, and also the reason why those Venn ion belts actually do those things, because not just because of people's belief or anything like that, but eventually people don't realize that the Earth is trying to basically make people feel more comfortable, who believe in like fallacies and different kinds of stuff. So I guess if you believe in religion and all that other different stuff, then eventually Jesus comes back as a pizza and you can eat his face if you want to. But but understandably so, anything else doesn't. So realize, it's stupid. And yes, if he was a pizza in a movie that I've been thinking about, then he should have been a pizza for longer. Alright, super religious friends, guys. That's what they're called. We're not going to talk about super religious friends anymore, because they're a coalition of people who believe in different things and care about different things all the same. And they all represent different people, because they were probably politicians at some point. Don't know where, don't know when, usually don't care. Still don't care. Oh, that's why I ran into a telephone pole and died. Shit. Karma, guys. If you you keep talking about politics and dumb stuff, then you go run into a telephone pole when you're trying to drive your motorcycle on GTA. It's for PlayStation. And Xbox and a bunch of different other awesome things, because I really love games. So shit, I thought the cheat wasn't processing. Alright, cool. Alright, so realization of fact. Alright, as we understand and know a lot of different stuff and a lot of different people, realizing that magnets themselves have a lot to do with the polarity of the Earth, and the reason why it'll never change is because of the magnetic polarity inside of the Sun. If the Sun were to reverse and change its polarity, then our entire Earth's gravity would completely reverse, and everyone would almost float off the entire planet. Unfortunately believing, oh my god, that was a long fall.
Oh, man.
And yes, realize that also people defend themselves. Realizing that people defend themselves, they create sometimes a reflex of some kind. People don't realize that wind itself moves no matter what anyone thinks. No matter what anyone does, sometimes. Understandably so, the only reason why it does that is because there are certain things that people have to, realize, is that the Earth contracts and relaxes sometimes, to be able to allow more and less dirt to be filled in. That's the reason why everyone felt like they were a little bit lighter or a little bit not light. It's not because of the moon's pull or the sun's pull. It has everything to do with the Earth, because the Earth is the thing that keeps us here. It's not what messes with the oceans. I'm sure it has a lot more to do with magnets than anyone else actually realizes. So as you go through the realization of fact and understanding that magnets are pretty much everywhere, and metal is pretty much everywhere around our planet as well as on it. The reason why China was so impressed that they did quantum teleportation is because eventually they're not going to realize that that satellite is going to run straight into the ground. That's what happens because they're stupid. Okay? People do stupid things to realize certain things that other people already realized for them and put in books for them to read. It's the reason why most of those experiments don't exist, and most of those experiments aren't actually done, because sometimes people don't realize the theory of relativity was bull. Complete bull. Because the man decided that he was going to take another idea from somebody else. Didn't realize everything, and that's the reason why he only remained the certain person that he is. That's the realization that if someone is smart enough to be able to do something, why would they ever try to do anything with their significant other's sister, I guess, what they did? Something like that? Oh, no, wait, that was Ben Franklin, guys. Sorry. Alright, cool. So, as you start to realize that there are people out there that completely and utterly exist for certain reasons, and they want to be able to help people, understand. Sometimes they do things that are very out of character. Completely out of character sometimes. And when they do that stuff, they get angry because they didn't show all of themselves. Because they never had a Twitter page or an Instagram or anything like that. They never got angry at someone. But the people that actually do get angry now are the way that people used to act back in the day. A lot more so, in fact, because people were very pretentious back in the day. They were very, very stupid and very dumb, and they waved guns at each other. So they weren't actually friends. They all made a deal because of the world that they knew was coming. The amount of people that would actually come and the population boom that would actually happen in a lot of places in Europe and a lot of places and wherever they were. But understandably so, they never knew that people already existed here. And they didn't understand that they weren't taking census at all. So they decided to try to number people. And that's where the Census Bureau came in. But understandably so, magnets can mess with numbers. It's the reason why sometimes that people's computers are off. But sometimes the magnets inside of them are messing with stuff. Like the magnet controlling a laser. And that magnet controlling a laser can make it seem like the screen itself is blurred. Realization of fact is that sometimes PS3s had the wrong magnets in them. That's the reason why sometimes in certain things they don't understand that the dust itself around a screen can sometimes blur the picture. And the magnets can cause the laser to malfunction and sometimes go through the CD. And that's the reason why PS3 suck sometimes, because that's the reason why old systems actually do suck, and most of the time they have to be worked on or completely and utterly changed, because the technology they had isn't the technology they use today. That's the reason why I'm not that much of a video game system collector. And that's what I believe that Aaron did for Game Grumps, because he was using all original systems, but they have to know that he's an engineer. He's an absolute engineer. Like, he is professional. Very professional, and if him showing anyone that room of engineer stuff, they have to realize that he's in that room constantly editing and constantly doing different things. And his friends know a lot of different stuff that they've learned because of the things that he knows. And the things that they've wanted to learn. So, there are a lot of people out there doing some really, really cool stuff with a lot of different things. And that's the reason why I appreciate someone, is because I see that they're not boasting about everything, but they're really, really showing people that it's real. And that's the thing that people don't understand, is sometimes you have to put in a less powerful magnet underneath those lasers that move it back and forth or oscillate it. And that's what probably Aaron and all of his friends had to do to every single system that ever works there. Because if they're all original guts, then they had to order all those parts online and do a whole bunch of different other stuff. So there's no way they existed in the 80s, guys. Magnets. All right. We're going to realize some stuff. All right. Oh. Shit, I celebrated too much. Magnets, guys. Alright, there are a lot of times where I believed that there were a lot of people out there that deserved a lot of different things for every single inspiration that I ever had. And I usually do mention them because, and I want to mention them in unique ways. I don't want to just go off of a list or a ledger. It's just not my style, I guess. Because I learned from certain people, and all those people kept talking in different ways that I found inspiring, and a lot of different people, and not people who gave speeches a lot, but the way that they inspired people that were different and that were sometimes less educated, and gave them reasons and ways to be able to educate themselves, were amazing and awesome. Also noticed that those people all had degrees. Every single person that has ever started or made a protest, they all have degrees in something. Because they have to get a permit to be able to protest somewhere. And in order for them to have that, they have to have someone knowledgeable enough to be able to know a whole bunch of ins and outs of city counciling. And granted, they don't have to have a degree, but most of the times they did, because that's the reason why. So realize that most protests are planned. But understandably so, that's the reason why I was so kind of pissed, I guess. Because in certain places sometimes there were things that people tried to cover up, like the fact that the entire French Quarter is covered in dirt. It's the reason why it sweats through. It's the reason why those cracks and stuff like that in the ground, they realized that they filled it in with dirt, but understandably so, it still had dirt in there from the last time they did it. Understandably so, it's happened before. And the reason why it happened before is because people don't understand that eventually, all through carbonation and certain cars going all over the roads and stuff like that, certain rubbers and tires become flammable. It's the reason why when you're in the desert, you have to take a break every once in a while and let your car cool off. It's not just for your engine, it's for your tires. Or else if you go too fast, then your tires can catch fire. There are a lot of reasons why I believe in a bunch of stuff, and I want to be able to predict and promote a lot of different parts of myself later on. But I also know that there are a lot of people out there that don't exactly need my promotion, and I would apologize if I ever offended someone. And I don't think I have. I don't think that I'm doing anything that's completely wrong. But also too, I realize that there are a lot of people out there that do a lot of good, and I want to mention them sometimes. So I confuse myself because I'm afraid that people themselves will get offended, and I won't have friends, or they won't want to be my friends, or something like that. And that's usually the reason why I don't want to follow people sometimes on Instagram, and or follow people on YouTube, because, or subscribe to them on YouTube, because eventually they'll start to realize the things that they started to say, I guess, and they'll start to realize that the things that they actually wanted sometimes were kind of fucked up sometimes. People realize that. People who understand that all that stuff happens, it's just sometimes people want to be able to repair something. And if you want to be able to repair something and you're actually prepared to be able to do that, then why not just give it to them? Yes. Parachute. I wanted a parachute, but it didn't come out. There were a lot of times where I believed in a bunch of different stuff that happened, and a bunch of different people that didn't understand things.
Dispatch, we got eyes on the perp.
I realized that there were a lot of different Eurekas that I had to keep to myself because of it. And there were a lot of people that just didn't know about what was going on, and or how it was going on. And I don't know if I wanted an excuse to be demented sometimes, because I just thought that there were some cool characters that looked like certain things, and they were obviously bad people, and I know that now. But I also think that they stole that from someone who actually looked pretty cool, like Spike from Cowboy Bebop. He was really cool. He was really awesome, and I just busted my tire. Gosh darn it. Or a bunch of different characters, like the dude from Trigun. He was pretty awesome. Or the chick who's my favorite from Marvel vs. Capcom, because she actually throws real kitty litter. What's her name? Felicia. So, don't say bye to Felicia, because she's a really good person. And trust me, she'll be back. Unlike Jesus.
What is location? Over.
Alright, my location is... No, just playing.
Suspect is heading north.
This game is so much fun, guys. Woo! So magnets, guys. Remember that all of these things are tied with magnets, okay? It's the reason why bookcases stay to the floor sometimes when there's an earthquake. It's the reason why there's a lot of different stuff out there that just doesn't move, because it's got magnets on it. It's the reason why they're powerful magnets, and they're constantly electrified. So the ions are still being reproduced constantly, and it's changing the entire surface. And eventually they won't have to have power in it anymore, because the magnets will keep it to the floor. And then they'll understand that there are actual woods that are mixed with metal. It's the redwoods. They're not all exactly red, but it's a rust formation. They don't understand that it's a formation of rust, and that rust had plants over it. And no, the power of throwing stones is not given to you. The power of throwing stones is not given to you by putting a bunch of rocks in a hole. That's for dogs to not dig there, because eventually there might be a bush. And people don't understand that trees play pranks all the time. They always do. They'll literally act like they're being pushed from the wind. They'll eventually start to move, guys. They'll eventually start to move. I'm not an idiot. People are stupid sometimes and think that their world is going to be exactly the same as it always was. They're going to be in their tiny little cubby holes. I'm staying here for right now because I'm waiting for the awesome stuff, guys. Eventually it's going to be great, and it's going to be amazing. But we're going to have to wait on that. But only understandably so. But also, too, realize that the trees will move no matter what. They'll dance in the wind. But that's what they do. They dance. They're just shaking. Shaking a little bit. Why do you think that the wind doesn't the wind can be blowing really hard, and sometimes the trees just stand still and firm? It means waiting is a lie. That's what it means. And it also means that people are stupid and they mess with wind patterns all the time because of their boats and stuff. Boats. I'm on a boat. Also, magnets are in boats. How are magnets in boats? Let me tell you how. Sometimes propellers in different sort of, or propellers in any way, are in different sort of things. People think that somehow it's connected to a pulley system that goes down into a hole, and that pulley system is turned around by something that is powered by gas. And granted, it is powered by gas, but why does it spin? Why does it spin, guys? Why does it turn in that whole thing? It's like spinning around and junk. Realize it, guys. Why does it spin? Because there's a magnet in there. It's oblong magnet. It's the reason why the polarity itself isn't as hard as when there's a thing. You remember that? You know that whole thing right there? That thing right there. That on that video, the GIF, where that thing's chopping that wood with the circular saw or whatever the hell it is. You know, it's a hubcap that they cut with something. Realize that there's a magnet like that inside of a thing. It's not cutting anything, but it's not pulling, and that's not pulling anything. It's making a circle. Because there are magnets that are being charged in different locations. They're being run electricity through by the gas motor, because the gas motor promotes electricity. It's also mechanical because of the magnets. Magnets are mechanical, guys. Remember, magnets. Understand a lot of stuff. People need to understand that the realization of fact is that people don't understand stuff sometimes, and they really think they're good at it. Say, for instance, magnets that were in old consoles. It's the reason why everyone's selling off their old consoles, because they don't know how to change out the magnets. But understandably so, the magnets create something cool. If you keep playing the old systems, they create different colors on the screen. It's really awesome, it's really cool, and if you manipulate the magnets inside of it, then it creates the color scheme of like a rainbow sometimes. So like it completely, like say for instance on that game where that has Supersonico on it. So the reason why that happens is because they programmed in a partial thing because of when a magnet went over the screen. They realized that it changed the color of everything. So they didn't run a magnet over anything. They just programmed in what a magnet would do. But realize that's what happens to old TVs sometimes. And eventually, if you fix them, or if you make them better, or if you realize that they're really cool and awesome, then you'll understand that there are really cool things that can happen. People can understand that they'll have a tie-dye screen sometimes, and they'll be able to turn it on and off if they manipulate it with an electrical remote. It's freaking awesome. And there's other things that will change completely because it's freaking great. It's the best thing ever. It's like an acid trip without actually taking acid or ever doing anything stupid. Like taking drugs. So, there are a lot of times where people get stuff that's really cool, they're really awesome because they like what they viewed because of different things manipulating their senses and different things like that. Understandably so, they did things that are stupid because they don't realize that sometimes they can detach their retinas. And that's sometimes what my dad didn't realize. Because my dad didn't realize that smoking cigarettes and running as fast as he possibly could would do something wrong because it creates pressure sometimes where there's none. It's the reason why also I'm going to eventually quit smoking. Because people don't understand that well, I might start up again, but understandably so, that's not the reason why I'm doing anything or saying anything. But magnets are really freaking cool. And if people have any of those old TVs lying around in thrift stores or whatever, realize that they're freaking valuable now. They're unbelievably valuable now because they can be manipulated and completely put into and put on TV channels that are just like friggin' awesome, and rainbows and cool stuff and different patterns because of different things you put there. It's really cool. It's really amazing, and it can be something that everyone loves. And I know it for a fact. And there was a lot of times where I believed in a lot of things, and then I realized that there were a lot of times where people made mistakes, and didn't really make mistakes, but didn't realize that there were people out there that did something that was wrong in a certain place, and if they were given a second chance, then it was wrong to give them that. Magnets, guys. Magnets only. Understanding certain magnet polarities. People will understand the reasons why when you go through a certain portal, or whatever a portal is supposed to be, the reason why magnets have a down thing is because certain polarities of metals. It's the reason why people don't realize that if a portal gun existed, then it would first shoot metal, then that metal would adhere to something, and then create a portal. As that portal would be created, people would realize that there are ions that something is using, and the reason why things need to constantly be changed, and also the reason why people don't understand that there are probably holes wherever Portal was filmed. Not really, but people have to understand that there are a lot of different types of magnets and a lot of different sizes of magnets, and they all have different polarities because they were all manipulated in different ways. The magnets that were in rubber were actually made to be able to form fit whatever it is, and that's the reason why it seems like there's a shut up. Anyway, it seems like there's a certain
That was close.
What's the word? No. There are a lot of times where dang it. There are a lot of times where people don't realize certain things about stuff, and they don't realize that there are a lot of times where magnets or whatever or something could have literally blown their mind and given them a new path in life or a new thing in life. But understandably so, that's not going to change everything. They have to themselves change. They have to realize that in silence, everything is golden. Everything is realized. But understand that in not silence, if people can actually think in those things, they need to rest afterwards. It's the reason why magnets can actually change your ionic bonds inside of your own body. The realization of fact is that I farted. People don't understand that that using magnets up against your skin, or putting magnets up against something, or having a magnetic ring can sometimes hurt your bones. Because the ionic bonds themselves that are constantly there, or always constantly around, they don't realize that those things can actually hurt people if charged in specific ways. Especially if someone has titanium in their leg. The realization of fact, though, is that people will get denser after a certain part because they don't realize that putting that kind of metal in someone's body, eventually it doesn't rust. It just dissipates sometimes and creates more bone. But understandably so, if it wasn't supposed to be there, then it shouldn't be there. Realize that there are a lot of people out there that do really, really good things. And there are a lot of times where people actually need help, and it helps to be able to understand that there are people out there that know how to do things very, very well. And without or with my help, or any sort of help, because I'm not omnipotent, and I don't see past my room when I'm in it sometimes. Magnets, guys. Keep talking about magnets. So, as you start to realize There are people out there that can manipulate things with their minds. Okay? Not exactly with their minds sometimes, though, but with certain parts of their bodies. There are certain, not ions, but genetic and electric charges, basically, that go through your body. And that's kind of what people would describe as or what is the Jedi. Those were actually Shaolin monks, though, that actually did some of that stuff. They didn't have strings attached to them. They could literally make stuff move. Because they didn't swallow magnets, but sometimes they were, their bodies were genetically charged. Or basically genetically charged because of certain, either if they got heavy metal poisoning when they were a young kid, or if they accidentally walked near a radioactive plant or something like that. They're changed forever, but eventually they'll realize that all those things are real, and it really happens. Like, those characters are all based on people that could do amazing things in World War II. Like a man who could turn his sword in any direction to make it seem like there were, or turn his gun in certain ways that people didn't understand. Not like turn it like certain ways that he could understand, but literally be able to fire an entire gun and not feel recoil. A World War II gun. Like, real World War II gun. There were people that were fucking strong as hell in World War II. They were all freaking strong as... Oh my god, they were so strong. But you have to understand is, eventually they started to feel irradiated pieces because of literally what was happening, and no one noticed in a lot of different places. Because they didn't realize that those containment systems were sent there and put there because of a lot of different people who believed in something that was basically stupid and evil. You have to understand that there were a lot of different people out there that sometimes whenever something's mixed in with something else, like if a human ever gets melded with a machine or something like that, there's a reflex that constantly happens in machines sometimes because it's constantly programmed to do something. And that's why the motherboard has to be completely wiped, sometimes with a magnet, just completely run over it. There are a lot of times when people have to realize that there are people out there that really do something that's completely terrible, and realize that it doesn't help you at all. And there are people out there that think that they can change something just because of someone else's opinions, because they believe in something, and they don't realize that the people themselves can't do that, or at least they were able to do that because of their concentration, and they didn't realize that they had all the knowledge. And people were there changing stuff and helping people because they had the information. But also realizing that they had the information doesn't mean their intentions were pure, or that anything that they had was good. Because there were a lot of times when people themselves would laugh at jokes that were just absolutely, utterly insane. And it's the reason why there were a lot of people in Native American countries and Native American places that don't talk to each other, and they have tribal feuds all the time. Magnets, guys. Magnets. The realization of fact is that there are a lot of people out there that don't understand that they're not going to understand a lot of stuff. They're not going to understand a lot of things. They're not going to realize certain things. They're not going to realize certain people are literally just out there to help. And they don't realize that sometimes protesting in a certain area or a certain lake that has a runoff, they'll realize that the groundwater was contaminated in some protests, and they got really sick. Some people swelled up to the size of balloons. Big balloons. And some of them died very quickly. You have to realize that there were things here before anyone came here. And if they ever did, they would have been dead. There were a lot of things that people couldn't be a part of. Because of the old people in the Asian countries and stuff like that came over in different ships, wanted to trade, didn't know that there were a shit ton of animals here. Back in those ancient times, there were so many animals here. Animals that you wouldn't even be able to name. Because nobody ever studied them before. Literally. Really. And I know this for a fact because everyone omits it. Absolutely everyone omits it. They omit everything. They're like, oh, didn't see dragons. Sorry guys, didn't happen. Didn't see demons either, obviously. There were a lot of different stuff, man. There were a lot of different things. And they don't understand that no matter what, dragons probably didn't want to be seen. If dragons were ever here. And I'm sure they probably were. But they probably existed alongside a lot of things. And then realized that there were certain things that they could eat in order for them to be able to fly and flap their wings. Because they don't understand that a lot of different polarities of different stuff. Tell me this. Tell me dragons aren't smart. Tell me dinosaurs aren't smart. I didn't hear anything. So I'm completely up by myself. Just screaming at the ether, guys. Just screaming at the ether. Understandably so. The realization, the fact is that some people don't understand that those things are very, very volatile. They're very, very crucial to be able to understand, and they're very, very unbelievably uncontrollable. So if you ever try to control them, then they're going to eat your fucking face off, and they won't give you a second chance. Because that's the way dinosaurs are. It's what they do. They eat your face off first, and then they come back for the rest because they want their skin. Because they want you to get fungusy, and then they'll eat nothing but salts because they want something savory because it makes their mouth water. They know how to hunt, and they definitely know how to torture, and they extremely know how to kill. It's what they do because people have learned their behavior patterns from knowing their bones, knowing what they did and knowing how they did it, knowing what they did because they had skin in their teeth. The fossils themselves, they should have and did check the things around them. They had sometimes flesh in their teeth. Lots and lots of flesh. And sometimes even the reason why they died, because sometimes they would even eat their young. Understandably so, they probably don't anymore if they do exist, ever. So, because certain reflexes were probably made if they ever exist again. That's the reason why. So, not made, but understandably so, they know a lot about our different, what's the word? Habits. And they don't want to introduce themselves to people. When people introduce themselves, see what kind of people they are, because they know people to be stupid sometimes. Because cavemen never did anything. They never studied anything. So why wouldn't dinosaurs exist alongside cavemen? They didn't write anything down. No one took any pictures. What's going on? Chilling out, creepy theory gamers. I'm chilling out and doing stuff. What are you doing? Enjoying yourself? Just talking about magnets, guys. Magnets had a lot of things to do with the dinosaurs. Okay? Magnets had a lot of things to do with their speed. A lot of raptors' speed and stuff like that was controlled because they had light metals inside of the food that they ate. Because they liked the radiation, or whatever radiative quality it gave off. Because of the things that they ate, because of the things that they did eat, it was probably a lot of either nickel or copper. And that's the reason why sometimes that pig probably looked like whatever it looked like, because it was near somewhere where there was an uncovering, probably at some point. And that's the reason why I don't like archaeologists that much, guys, because I don't remember you, Chris Little. But how's it going? If y'all want to message me, you can, or start a conversation. I'm talking about magnets. I'm just trying to drive and trying to see how long I can survive with these dudes trying to chase me. Okay, we're gonna go backwards because... Oh my gosh. Nice. Never, dude. I don't really remember a lot of people. If I don't follow you, then I don't really remember you. Not really a big deal, but I didn't last that long. Anyways. And don't worry, I won't, because it doesn't really matter. It's okay, though. Oh yeah, that's right. That's cool. It wasn't a crappy indie game. Every game deserves a little bit of the stuff. Come on now. Probably kids like it or something like that. You know. Or people who want to learn different types of techniques, I guess. There are a lot of times when people take a theme, sometimes to be able to help people with disabilities. So a lot of times I realized that I was fixing my fingers sometimes because I played football and almost got arthritis. So that's what happened. So, and also a fortune teller is fat. So, pass. But the fortune teller told me that I was gonna get arthritis or something like that from walking around or moving too much, and she didn't know that she was just... Also, I'm stretching a lot, trying to stretch too, so... Alright. There were a lot of times when I believed in what magnets could do, and I kind of tried to look at them for a while and realized that they were just ionically tendency towards each other, basically. They were bonded in a certain way, and then that polarity was moved to a certain thing, and then because of it, it moved backwards, or it moved forwards, or it... Yeah, I got one, but it's not... It's still tied to my Facebook page, so... That's the reason why. I don't really have that much content to be able to put on there, because every single time I've moved, all my drawings have gone places, and I had to either give them to my dad or get rid of them because I was moving, and I didn't have enough time to get like a filing cabinet to be able to put my drawings in. So it's what I should have done, but I'm just gonna wait until my friends or my roommate's friends leave, and I'm gonna see if I can get a filing cabinet, and hopefully the cat doesn't go in the garage anymore and make dookies so I get pissed off or smell ammonia a bunch and start to freak out. You made an old website and got rid of it? Okay. Also, it has a lot to do with history, I think. Magnets have a lot to do with history, and certain times that people actually realized that there were a lot of times out there that I really wanted to believe in history, but there were a lot of times when I didn't believe in it because of the lack of knowledge that sometimes people didn't understand. Is they didn't realize that sometimes they needed to dig down deep in some place to realize that yes, it's stable, it's completely stable, and if they don't understand that it's somewhere where I think are some places that that were made with magnets. Basically, they would, yeah. Yes, they have. They've been around for literally eons. They had people that knew certain alchemies, and yeah, that's where it existed from. A lot of people don't know where magnets came from, but it came literally from BCE or BCE Israel and Africa and in Egypt, because that's the reason why they had so many jewels, because they had so many ideas and stuff like that. They really were inspiring people, but it's also the reason why they died, because they did a lot of their experiments without any protection. So people didn't understand that either, because there's a lot of times where people didn't know where all their money came from, and the people that they ruled over were kind of pissed off because they didn't get any of it. So sometimes they had revolts on their hands, too. So that's what happened. But there are a lot of times where people believed in certain things, or people knew different things, and a lot of different times they were basically selling magnets to people. And I think that's how they actually did Stonehenge, or made Stonehenge, with magnets. Not like huge things, but they would actually take handles, basically, or take handles at all, and then put a wedge underneath a certain part of something, big enough to where it would stop it, and have like 5 or 6 people hold it, and then you realize that it's really not that exactly hard to be able to lift those things. You just need enough manpower. So people would make them and then send them on boats. And then that's a lot of times where I think that a lot of that stuff happened. So science. Yeah, I don't care about science either, but it's still useful. So whatever, you know. And you don't have to care about science, but when it smacks in your face or tells you that that you're not a good boyfriend or something like that, then because science can be staring at your face in so many ways. Understand that. And if you want to get smacked by your significant other and make you realize that you're not controlling anything, you have to realize that there are really, really good things out there that are actually promoted and done by science. So it may be a cheap trick, but it's something, and you realize that there are a lot of people that get their ideas from every reaction that ever happens there, because there are kids that actually do have ideas that they keep inside of themselves, and if they ever bring them out and bring them out responsibly, then stuff like that can actually help people. And yes, yeah, magnets have probably been around for a couple of eons, I think. Eons are like 100,000 years, I think. Yeah, magnets were actually, I think, accidentally created by polarity and electricity when the first shock happened, I think, and that's Earth. So, but understandably so, the realization, the first shock, I think, that actually went through a first couple of things of lightning, I think, like that. Not the first couple of few things of lightning, but the first time that a caveman saw lightning, he wanted to go to where it was, and then realized that a piece of metal was there, probably. So, you know. All right, cool. You did try, but understandably so. That's not exactly what happened, but understandably so. There are people that didn't understand that there were lots of pieces of metal in the forest, because that's why they were there. Because there were probably people that came before them that planted trees, or things that planted trees, or had seeds or on their bellies, or whatever, you know. So that's the reason why. And also, they had a lot of animals that do like to exercise. That's the reason why I know a lot of different types of animals like to exercise. So, there are a lot of times where people don't understand that animals are cool, and sometimes they're magnetized. especially Stegosaurus. Sometimes. So all right, cool. Magnets, guys. Magnets. So realize that magnets has to do with everything, the polarity of everything and all that stuff. It's not magic, basically. It's just alchemic, filtered, and realized magnets. And the more you realize that there are people out there that that absolutely do care about you and don't want you to completely and utterly hurt yourself, the more you'll realize out there that there are other people that already have seen the situation and know what's about to go wrong or know what's about to happen, and you were just never there. And realize it, you know? And also realize that there are people out there that care because they care. And also people are stupid and sometimes they get fired. Sometimes they get let go. And sometimes they don't understand that that sometimes it wasn't people. Sometimes it wasn't people that really do know a lot more about magnets than anyone else. And that's the reason why people study animals constantly, because they know things and they're just not letting on. But they don't want to talk, or they don't say they don't talk because they probably tried a long time ago and people used to smack the shit out of them. And they'll probably never talk again. So realize that and understand your follies as humans, as people decide that they're going to cover up whatever the fuck they're going to cover up. That's what happens. The realization of the fact that sometimes you're too late to be able to help someone or be able to do something for someone that you said you'd be there for. In case something happens, just break glass, use magnet. And no matter what, you can't change it. No matter what, you can't realize things. No matter what, you don't know what's going on. And you don't know the realization of fact that some people are just really, 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 really tired. Because they tried. And they failed. And they didn't do it again because they're stupid. Because that's the reason why. I got my leg broken for being stupid. Because I know being stupid is dumb. Following orders from people are dumb. And not knowing a situation before you go into it is suicide. So realize it. But also realizing that I'm just sitting in my room playing video games and staring off into the ether, because that's what this creates. It creates an ionic bond or ether, and that's what it does. It's just a video game, but that's what it creates. An ether on the TV, on something, on anything, and people remember it constantly. I don't realize sometimes that those things have a personality. Sometimes they've given certain traits. Realize it. Every idea is alive. Every idea that you come up with, completely and utterly, is always alive. And the more you don't understand it, the more that it constantly and utterly just begs to want to be killed, or want to go somewhere else, or want to just completely be covered up and have you not use it ever again. And the more you don't realize the certain things that are happening, the more you don't realize the exact things that are actually happening at all, the more you don't realize that certain people are out there to help you, the more you'll realize exactly the things that are wrong, and exactly the people out there that are just the stupidest motherfuckers that ever goddamn lived. and that's so much that they deserve, is nothing. But sometimes a bullet in the head, it works. Sometimes. Have a good day, and enjoy yourself, and realize that there are people out there that care. More so than the people that care are the people that actually want to do something for yourself. Realize that there are a lot of people out there that understand that there are people out there that care, and they don't want to do anything because they don't want to mess it up, because they know they would. Realize that people themselves are understandably stupid, and they do stupid things, but when they're kids and dumbness, and they think that everything is just the way it is, and they don't understand that there's nothing. There's no one. There's nothing at all. And the more you don't realize that people could try to control you all the time, the more you'll realize that people don't want your help or anything like that. They want your opinions. They want the things that you like. They want the stuff that you have sometimes, because they'll take it if you give it to them. Understandably so. If they do that, then they're just putting themselves in further and further hole, because they're not doing what they really want to do, and that's be a good person. So that's what I think. That's how I think about it. I'm not that good at death matches, so that's the reason why I don't play them a lot. I also know that people can be stupid sometimes, and the more YouTube accounts they try to make me look like an asshole, or a pedophile, or some sort of stupid person, the more they're gonna realize that I don't care about them sometimes. Not most of the time. Most of the time. Pretty much all the time. Yeah, all the time. Don't care, because it's better off. That's the reason why I don't care sometimes, because, or most of the time, because it's just not worth it. I'm not worth putting the effort into something that I know I'm gonna fail. It's not worth watching someone's head hit the ground when they fall off a motorcycle, or a four-wheeler, or anything, and no one asks if they're okay. It's not worth telling someone they're crazy and then forcing pills down their throat once they go to the hospital. Because that's what they do. They're fucking annoying. People are fucking annoying. And you know what? The more they act like stupid shit, the more they act like dumb stuff, the more I like to like them. The more I start to like them at all. The more I realize that they were just out there to manipulate people, or out there to manipulate me, or acting like they wanted to manipulate me, or acting like they wanted to do anything at all. The more they're going to realize exactly the reasons why I told them to go fuck themselves a long time ago. And yes, a therapist can tell you to go fuck yourselves. Because you're making thoughts out of other juices, because you're trying to use your brain to move a fucking mountain, and you don't realize you have to move yourself first, you morons. I want to move mountains, guys. I want to move mountains, and that's the reason why things are happening, because I want to move mountains. That's the reason why. Move yourself first. Try moving yourself first. Realize if you put a mountain on top of you and you try to do stupid shit, that's what happens to you. You turn into a stupid monkey. Because the earth believes you to be completely and utterly retarded. So that's what happened to the Monkey King. He was there for 30 years. Not 30 minutes. There's no concept of time inside of a freaking mountain, you idiots. Why was all his hair brown? I don't know. It's because he's a monkey. People can be fucking stupid sometimes and eat something that's not good for them and don't realize that those things are still alive. If they're inside of them and they made a fat or something, like they ate monkey brains or something or some of that shit and it wasn't cooked all the way or it was mixed with some sort of jelly that tasted so amazing, that stuff can be electrified and literally make you grow hair kind of weird. This stuff can be electrified by your own skin because you have a nervous system and that's what happens. If you eat monkey parts, sometimes they start to move and bend and shape and shake and all that other different stuff. So don't eat monkey because the monkeys get mad and they want to move their stuff. Gavin. Enjoy your time here, Gavin. But don't eat any more monkey. Or insinuate that jelly is monkey brains. It's stupid. And it hurts yourself. It doesn't hurt anyone else, dummy. If you're in the jungle, then realize monkeys will be throwing their shit at you. Because they probably heard me. Because animals are everywhere, idiots. All the time. Quit being stupid with your stuff. They can see it. They know where it is. Just because they're in cages doesn't mean they're not clairvoyant or something. They're stupid. They're going to be clairvoyant no matter what. They're going to try and keep trying, and then they're going to throw their shit at a certain group of people and then say they're stupid. Just because they picked that group, not because they're guilty. They just picked that group. That's all they did. They picked that group, and they knew that group did stupid shit. And that's the reason why that group had poo thrown at them. Because monkeys do things at random. It's not like they have a ledger or something. It's like, yeah, guys, we gotta take care of these guys, man. Because if we don't take care of these guys, then something might something. And then monkeys get like, what? What's going on? Is somebody talking about something? Because I'm a monkey. And then people train the monkeys certain different things and don't realize different things are happening. And then shit gets thrown at them. And then they smell like shit for like until they go wash their clothes. God dang it. Be happy, man. Be happy. You're going to be tired all you want. Just enjoy yourself. Be yourself. I'm not a douchebag. I'm just trying to say that. Just realize that there are people out there that care. And realize that there are a lot of things that people don't understand right now. Because animals are going absolutely insane sometimes. Because of certain things that happen to them. And certain things that happened in certain places. And places where they knew where something was wrong. And they tried to tell people. Because they can't speak. Because that happens. But realize that eventually animals will learn how to talk. And they won't be sentient because they don't like people. Realize that part. Because dinosaurs will eventually stand upright. And they don't understand that they can look at whatever they want, way they want to. They're still dinosaurs. That's the reason why. See if I can still start it up. Nope. Doesn't work. God dang it, I'm not a hacker, guys. Trying to blame someone for breaking into the sea. What is it, the sea? You guys were just drinking out of water cups. What kind of stuff were you drinking, guys? Oh, they were thinking that there was another kind of acid in the Mississippi. No, acidic. They were trying to say acidic. Don't drink the water sometimes because it gets acidic. And that's the reason why they have to have filters and all those kinds of things. That's the reason why they have to have those little things in their refrigerators and stuff. That's the reason why they have those cool refrigerators on sale. What's the word? Frigidaire is a really, really good thing. Also, GE and also a whole bunch of different things. Realize that it's going to get acidic again because of the amount of animals that used to pee there. That's the reason why I was outside on the beach one time, and I was playing with frisbee, and I didn't have a dog because I didn't want the dog to go in the water because it was too acidic that day. I was playing with a frisbee by myself though, man, teaching myself how to catch that frisbee, running out, catching that frisbee, coming back. Man, I had a great time being by myself for no reason. Also understanding that I make myself laugh all the time. And if I had friends, I'd try to make them laugh as much as possible. Granted, my friends right now are being stupid because they have careers and stuff they want to build. Gosh, man. Wish I had friends, guys. Wish I had more friends. So, you're probably doing really well, Chris Little. Realize that, man. You're doing pretty well, okay? And the more you understand that there are a lot of people that, I just farted, don't realize that there are people out there that care. What they need to understand is there are also people out there that do a lot of different good things and have a lot of different good intentions. But sometimes they need to let go of the past and realize that their future is waiting for them. And they need to realize that the future is absolutely just beckoning them sometimes. And they have an amazing talent, and they're literally everything that people are looking for sometimes. And I've really understood a lot of different things about myself, and I've understood that there are a lot of people that understand a lot of different things. And the realization of fact is that people don't understand that there are people out there that really want to help them and really want to do things that are better for them. And the more you realize that is real out there for you, the more you realize that everything is pretty much real, whether it's in a flat dimension or in a completely and utterly spacious one. So magnets, guys. Magnets, guys. Woo, magnets! Magnets are awesome, guys! They mimic thought sometimes because of electrical charges and people believing in stupid shit. Only if they certainly try to praise it for 1,000,000 years, acting like it's going to give them food. Dark Souls, guys. I mean, magnets. What? Have a good day, guys. And you are your own metaphorical, personal, wonderful, amazing bomb squad. You can diffuse situations before they happen, and you can make sure that there are a lot of different people out there that help a lot of different people. And realize that there are people out there that can be amazing. Because I have studied a specific amount of different things, and I've realized that there are a lot of different things out there that can really, truly help people. And I have a sick sense of humor sometimes, but understandably so. It's only because it's based off something that's completely and utterly stupid, and people should know that. And because people have to know that that's a thing. There were no cameras around in prehistoric times. None of it. There were none. They can't do it just from carbon dating. They have to know that carbon dating isn't an exact science. That's the reason why they have to change their schedules or all of their things, because they realize that you have to take samples from every single layer of the crust. You have to go down underneath the crust, underneath the mantle, and realize, dig down deep under there, and understand that the earth isn't moving like that, and they're not stupid anymore. Realize it's happening somewhere. Somewhere, I don't know. Maybe somewhere completely protected by fences and a whole bunch of different stuff. Maybe not. But you should go in there, because if there are, then there might be raptors there. Lots and lots of raptors. All right, guys. Be yourselves and understand that there are basically amazing things and basically amazing people out there that know how to do amazing stuff. And if you let any raptors out, you're going to understand they're going to stay in until the zombies come. Because zombies are stupid and they're dumb. And they're also terrorists and they're idiotic. All right, guys. Have a good day. Magnets.